Alright, this is where I am with the wall. All the walls have their spline joints in them. They're all glued up, they're all dried. And we flipped them so that they're mirroring each other, so that when I go to cut them out, they're the exact same. So this is how I'm doing my radius. A guy on YouTube, his name's Jay Poor, I'm like following all of his videos to build my camper, so he actually came up with this and it's a really good idea. But I just took a piece of 1/4-inch plywood and ripped it down. It didn't have to be perfect or anything. And I measured from the center of my screw hole up 24 inches, and then 30 inches will go in the back galley area. And then I drilled a hole right here and right at the 30, and then I just stick I had to kind of modify my pencil a little bit to fit in there, but I just stick my pencil down in there and trace this out to get my 24-inch radius on the front of my camper. And I just took a drywall screw and barely screwed it into the wall. These are my pictures for my camper. This is kind of what I'm going off of. This drawing is to scale. So I got a 24-inch radius on the front and a 30-inch radius on the back. So yeah, that's how I'm doing that. I just figured I'd share that before I went ahead and cut these out. I'm going to go ahead and do exactly what I did on the front here. I'm going to do it on the back. And I should mention, to get your center point right there, so I have a 24-inch radius. So from the top down, I measure 24 inches. And from the side over, I measured 24 inches, and right where those two lines meet is where my screw is going to go to make that radius. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back for my galley, and then I'm going to cut them out. I put some drywall screws in it just to keep the pieces together, because I'm cutting both walls at one time, so they're exact matches to each other, so I don't have issues when I go to put my spars in later. So just put them on either side just to keep all that together, and I'm going to cut it out. There she is!
Oh wow, gorgeous!
Alright guys, so I got the walls up. Both my radii is cut. And I also cut out where I traced. I took a pencil, I crawled under here before I laid all this out. And I traced this with a marker because each wheel well is different. I don't know if I got a video of that or not, but I went ahead and cut that out. So I mocked these up so that I can figure out where all my voids are going to go in this plywood to put my insulation, because I'm doing sandwich wall construction. So this 3/4-inch plywood is going to have all the cutouts in it to hold 3/4-inch insulation, which is going to be sheathed on the outside with 1/4-inch plywood, 5mm plywood on the inside. But yeah, it's super exciting seeing the shape of the camper. There's a chicken in my garage. My camper's 4'6" the cabin itself. I think the overall height, once I got my wheels and everything on it, it's going to be from the ground to the top 6 foot high. So it's a bigger camper. So yeah, this is where I am right now with the walls. I got my doors and my windows. I ordered those from Vintage Technologies. I got the biggest door I think that they had. It's rough opening. It fits 26 inches wide by 42 inches tall. And I went with a taller door because my walls are a little taller, and I just like the way that it looked. So I don't have a part number or anything for those doors. I'll try and leave it down in the description below. And I got this little 14 by 16, I think, window to go with it. And for the past, I don't know, probably 2 weeks, because I'm doing the sandwich wall insulation, I have to plan out where everything's gonna go and mount to a wall. And I have to do that because everywhere where these cross hatches are is a cutout where 3/4 inch insulation is gonna go. So because I'm doing that, I have to know exactly where everything's gonna go so that I have solid wood to screw into and I don't accidentally screw into insulation. So that's taken me a lot of time. I'm not really much of a planner when I build. I kind of just like build as I go. Laid out where my galley hatch is gonna go. My spars at the top, 1.5 inches for my spars. I got my bulkhead here, and then I measured some extra bracing for it so that I don't cut around that. And I designed my galley so it's gonna have 2 different height countertops. Try and record this the best I can. So my fridge, I ordered my fridge before I built my teardrop, and I like my fridge a lot because it's big and that's what I wanted, but it's super tall. So my countertop would have ended up being way tall whenever you stood back here at the galley. And I didn't really like that. So just the area where my fridge is sitting is going to be taller, and then I'm dropping it down, I don't know, I think it's like 6 inches or something like that for an actual countertop with a sink and stuff, or at least a sink is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure yet. And so now I got my doors and my window down, and I'm gonna trace around the inside edge. I got a flat bottom door, so this edge is gonna rest right on my floor when the wall is butted up against the floor. That bottom edge right there is gonna rest right on top of that. So I'm gonna go around and trace the inside of the door. I got the door popped open to get my door cut out and my window cut out. And then I'm gonna trace those, and then I'm gonna cut those out along with all of my voids for insulation. A lot of planning, a lot of thinking. So that's why it's taken me so long to get to this point, but I'm here now, and I'm gonna go ahead and hope maybe tonight I'll get to cutting it out. I don't know, I might sit on the idea another night, just to be sure this is exactly where I want my cutouts for my insulation. So, all right, that's that. This is where I'm at right now with the camper build. I ended up grabbing the driver's side wall, laying it on top of here, lining all my edges up, and I took a flush trim bottom bearing router bit, this thing right here, and routing out this driver's side wall. Alright, this is where I'm at now. I have my template made and it's just drying. It's most of the way made. I didn't add the extra 8 inches on the end because I think I'll get the idea if I ever use this to nail things up or whatever. I got my plywood on my skeleton. It's ready to be glued down. I'm gonna go around, probably dump some of this everywhere, and then spread it around with the foam brush. Staggered my seams. So right there's where one of my spline joints are. Well, I'm not going to join a separate piece of plywood here. It's going to be down the opposite end right there. So this kind of is used almost as like a gusset or something to hold those together. Same with this end. My spline, my extra 8 inches that I splined is up there at the front, so I'm adding it back here at the back where it's just solid plywood. So that's what I'm gonna do now, and I got all these weights. This is the most use that these weights probably have ever gotten, since we don't really use them in our gym. But that's okay. So I'm gonna put all that glue down there, and then I'm gonna weigh it down with those weights over there just to hold everything down while it dries. So, yep, that's what I'm doing now. All right, so This is where we're sitting right now. We're about to erect the walls. I got those all sandwiched together. I went around and pre-screwed a couple screws just to hold it in place once we get it up there. They're not all the way through. They're just biting into there. We're gonna cover the edge with a good amount of wood glue and then screw it on. And then I made these 2x4 scrap 2x4 pieces to hold it square while the glue dries. Alright, I'm gonna go along with glue and then you can go behind me and spread it all out really good. I'll do the bottom edge first and then I'll follow behind you and do that top edge. Ready?
Yep.
Your way. Whoa, needs to come back my way a little bit. Oh. Okay, I'm. Gonna have to go your way just a skosh. Whoa! Whoa!